Wait, listen, I know the title of this video is already pushing you towards that dislike button, but hear me out.
Borderlands 4 on the whole looks good, promising even. The Borderlands 3 we always wanted, but despite that, there are still things that worry me and might worry you too.
Not in a maybe you shouldn't buy the game way, more in a yes I am nitpicking about largely cosmetic things, but if you put all of these things together, yikes.
Let us begin. This is the bit that hurts the most. Borderlands 4 gun market has muscled out some of its legacy gun manufacturers. Iridian, Hyperion, Dahl, Bandit, Scav, S&S Munitions and Atlas are all gone. They're being replaced, in part, by 3 new manufacturers: Order, Ripper and Daedalus. But nonetheless, losing Dahl especially stings. The whole point of Borderlands is that the Vault Hunter pursuit has been so overdone to the extent that there is a ludicrous amount of gun merchants to cater to all of those Vault Hunters and outlaws.
The demand is just that high, and capitalism has run amok, pushing brands on our faces like there's no tomorrow. Because for most of the Vault Hunters, there isn't, because they die.
The oversaturated gun market is one of the biggest parts of the whole world of Borderlands, so winnowing down the brands feels just plain wrong to me. While this does mean the brands left, Malawan, Jacobs, Vladov, TDR and Torg, have more polished USPs, it makes the world feel a bit less charmingly crowded.
Or am I overreacting? No, I'm not. On to the next one.
Back in my day, if you got hit by a bullet, you shot more bullets out and picked up an instant use health from the dead bodies littering your path, and if there were no dead bodies littering your path, you had to haul up your backpack and manually choose to use a health kit. But now, in Borderlands 4, you can use health stims on demand from the main interface without even opening Inventory UI.
The youth of today have it so easy. Where's the frantic hunting for a glowing red tube, the hunger in your soul as you wait for one to drop from a poor bandit or skag? I swear to God, this planet is going to shit. Many eagle-eared, bat-eared viewers picked up on a specific turn of phrase when Borderlands 4 gameplay was introduced.
4 Vault Hunters at launch. At launch? So does that mean DLC is already being planned? This might be because I've been burnt too many times, but the specification of Vault Hunters you can play at launch has alarm bells ringing. I'd rather Gearbox make sure Borderlands 4 itself is good and then comes out with a DLC, instead of putting content into DLC that otherwise, perhaps, maybe, theoretically, could be included in the main game itself. Granted, Borderlands 1, 2 and 3 all had DLCs, my favourite being the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned, so this isn't without precedent.
Just that particular phrasing at launch is bad vibes.
The enemy health bar's slap bang in the very centre of the screen starts some internal rage inside of me that I can't quantify. It looks ugly, gets in the way, and it makes it confusing as to which enemy you're facing. Having the health bar slightly above our enemies' heads has been used for decades for a reason. Borderlands never had that exact layout, as the health bar used to be slightly above the centre of the screen in the previous games, and it needs to be humbled and returned to that place.
Who does this digital user-facing number interface think it is?
Borderlands has never been a serious, down-to-earth series. What made the first one stick out amid the crowd is that it was filled with unhinged bosses, like Nine Toes and his 3 balls, its semi-irreverent writing, and unforgettable characters like Marcus and Dr. Ned. Borderlands 2 immortalised that tone,
and Borderlands 3 shat on it. The gameplay reveal said that Borderlands 4 is returning to a more grounded tone, which I hope is code for no poop jokes.
Because look at the Vault Hunters, they look almost normal? Almost, unless you take steroids and eat liver. The design of the main 4 has always incorporated exaggerated proportions and that unmistakable main character energy. But these new 4 Vault Hunters borderline look like they could be NPCs. Apart from Vex, they're all in desperate need of some more colourful outfits or something. Just anything to make them stick out.
Fun was always part of Borderlands, just not the skibbity toilet genre or whatever you want to call Borderlands 3. Gearbox, I beg you, please don't return to Borderlands 1 Brown.
Vaults are becoming more common in Borderlands 4, which I'm not wild about. Instead of being grand set pieces, which the infiltration of is often a major part of the final act, they now work the same as dungeons. I am not a fan of this.
One of the big appeals, the wow factor of vaults, was that it was rare to get to go inside one. After finally opening one with a vault key, you're dwarfed by Iridian architecture, impossible geometry, and space magic flowing through the stone in a way that you don't find elsewhere in the Borderlands.
Now they're being billed as dungeons, making vaults feel a bit lackluster. Vaults are supposed to be the epicenter of ancient alien technology. So, having multiple of them as a twisty combat arena feels like they're being stripped of their prestige. I am torn on this though. On one hand, I love the idea of exploring more Iridian ruins. On the other hand, having numerous vaults lessens the impact of entering one in the grand scheme of things. What do you think?
Yes, this is petty of me, and yes, I know there's reasoning behind it, but Randy Pitchford, CEO of Gearbox, telling people worried about potentially paying $80 for Borderlands 4, in the current cost of living crisis we're in, that if they're real fans, they'll make it happen, was tone deaf at best and entitled at absolute worst.
Randy expanded upon his statement by explaining that when he was a kid, he scrimped and saved to get Starflight for the Sega Genesis. Accounting for inflation, that cost the equivalent of $189.30. A lot of money, of course, but the fact remains that a very wealthy CEO saying that when eggs cost God knows how much in America right now, and the USDA says that a weekly grocery shop costs $270, his statement reeks of disdain and entitlement. Moving on.
Look, I'm being semi-serious with those points. Although I do have some concerns that smell strongly of odour, go outside and touch grass, there are plenty of things that bode well for Borderlands 4.
Gear has been balanced, so rare items actually feel rare now, and you're not wading through tons of gold glowing guns that, with enough time in Borderlands 3, end up having as much appeal as the grey shine of a common gun. I am guilty of wasting one gun slot on a rocket launcher in every Borderlands I've ever played, and it looks like plenty of developers at Gearbox did exactly the same because now there's a dedicated ordnance slot. In this slot, your rocket launcher shall be found, and it's on a cooldown so you can't spam rockets at bosses. Though, frankly, if you have the patience to sit through the extended reload time that comes with such high damage, this cooldown isn't going to make you break any kind of sweat. Split-screen co-op is of course returning. I can imagine the riots if Borderlands got rid of the biggest fan favourite features. And bosses now respawn without loading earlier saves, meaning you can fight them over and over until you get the loot you want, instead of creating dozens of different timelines each time you reload an earlier save to farm it. World bosses are also now a thing for the first time in the series, which you can have storied beef with via that respawning system.
Though it's more likely the bosses have beef with you as you keep on killing them, doomed to be resurrected again and again. Now that's true hell.
This next selling point of Borderlands 4 sounds like lessons have been learnt from Borderlands 3. There's just one planet. That means a more cohesive world, I hope. As in Borderlands 3, it did make travelling to different planets feel quite shallow. Especially when those celestial bodies were effectively represented as being one single biome. Not entirely realistic, but then again, neither is sprouting emo wings and shooting It's Not a Phase Mum themed versions of yourself holding scythes, unfortunately.
This planet, Kairos, has dynamic weather and events, which I won't insult you by explaining, and you can traverse it in that trademark gamer method, vertically. In practical terms, that means you can glide and grapple around, no wall running, yet.
And finally, enemies' statuses are described in a variety of new ways, and yes, badass is still one of them.
Hey, it's one of the series' slightly cringe charms at this point.
Enemies can now be leaking, ticking, contagious, and more. Each status effect denoting that the enemy either is leaking, which I think is bleeding damage, ticking as in they're gonna explode real soon, and contagious as in their element is just going everywhere. Ew. How do you feel about Borderlands 4 so far? Are you worried at all about it losing some of its identity like I, upon reflection, apparently am? Tell me in the comments below. If you winced at the word badass in this video, then please do chuck it a like so I can reverse cringe myself. And otherwise subscribe to Eurogamer for new videos about video games and Borderlands 4 almost every single day.
Now, I am going to go and start writing about why Claptrap is such a Kafka-esque tragedy, so I'll see you folks next time.